Hello friends! Okay, so several videos back when I showed how I made a different way of doing chicken salad for chicken salad sandwiches, I also was making meatball sandwiches that day, and I had a request to show how I make my spaghetti sauce. Now, I've shown how to make my spaghetti sauce in the past, but I decided I will show it again. The thing is, there's various ways you can make spaghetti sauce or sauce for lasagna. Let's put it this way. The way that I make my spaghetti sauce is not the same sauce that I make when I'm making lasagna. Like I don't make a sweet sauce when I'm making lasagna, for example, and I have more herbs in it. This is the recipe I'm going to show you today is just my standard go-to sauce. It's my sweet sauce. It's the one that my family likes the most. So that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm also going to do a little bonus for you guys, and I'm going to show you how I make my meatballs as well. So we're having spaghetti today, and then I will have leftover meatballs. Tomorrow we'll have meatball sandwiches. So before I show you all of that, I got a couple little announcements. First of all, look at that. That's my niece, Caitlin. She graduated. I got this in the mail the other day. I mentioned I had a niece and a nephew that graduated high school, and I have another niece that got married. And this one here, Caitlin, she runs track. She's going to college, and she'll be running track, and she will be studying nursing while she's there. And this week is Shark Week. Anybody that knows me very well knows I love Shark Week. So it's Shark Week this week, and beginning next Friday on July 8th is another favorite week that I look forward to every year. And if you know me very well, you know that I love Christmas in July on the Hallmark Channel. All week long, Christmas movies. Yes, indeed. And guess what else I got from Hallmark? Look! Hallmark came out with their keepsake ornaments. They usually come out in July, and so it's not countdown to Christmas. That's in the fall. It's Christmas in July is what's coming on next week on the 8th. So that's Friday the 8th, and on the 9th they start a sale that weekend for the Christmas ornaments, because they're gonna get them out. It's their premiere, and they'll run sales on them too. And I got 4 wonderful coupons that I can use. But anyway, I wanted to show you a couple of the ornaments that I like in here. And also, if you already collect Hallmark ornaments, you know there's several different series out there. Like they have a Peanuts series, you know, Snoopy and Charlie Brown and all that. They have a Wizard of Oz series. They have a Christmas Story series, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and then just their regular vacation. Did I say Wizard of Oz? They have Disney, they have Marvel Comics, they have Barbie. They all have all kinds of different, you know, series. So I collect some of them. So I will show you the ornaments that I like in here, and then for the ones that I like for different series that I collect, I'll show you what I like. Okay, so first they have this birdhouse, and I like birdhouses, and I saw that. That was the first thing I was like, I like that. It's got like a little snowflake on it too. So there's that one. And then they have this Beauty and the Beast ornament here. And that's the Emerald City for Wizard of Oz. I don't collect the Wizard of Oz, but I do collect some Disney ones. And the Beauty and the Beast, I like that. This is Frozen. And then next to it is Finding Dory. And did you guys see that movie? We saw it last weekend. Carly, Joe, and I went to see it. The first showing that we wanted to get to, it was completely sold out. And then we had to go to the next showing, and they only had a few seats left. Carly and I sat at the very front row, but we went to, our theater is one of those dine-in theaters. It's nice, so they're bigger seats, and you can lay back a little bit more. And that was good to be able to lay back to see the screen, because if I would have had to have sat in one of those stationary chairs, it would have been a horrible experience. We did that once before with Titanic. Titanic was sold out. The only place that we could get, and it was the whole family we went. And so we went down front. It was the first row, and seriously, my neck was like this the whole time. And when the movie was over, my neck was killing me. So anyway, I didn't mind sitting in the front. It was okay. But Joe didn't get to sit with us. He had to sit on the other side of the theater a few rows back with people he didn't know, but that was okay. He did well with it. What else was in here that I like? Let's see. Oh, they have a Star Wars series too, you know, because people that collect Star Wars. Okay, so we do the Christmas Vacation. I do those for Harry. This year's ornaments is Griswold with his turkey. And then the one next to it is from the Vacation, the first Christmas, not Christmas Vacation, but the first, you know, Vacation that came out in the early 80s, where they're going to Wally World. And remember when they hit the roadblock sign? That's what that is there. And then this is one that I collect, the Christmas Story, and this is Ralphie with his little cowboy outfit and his Red Ryder BB gun. And then over here, this is one that I want to get from Beauty and the Beast, the Candlestick. Candlestick, he is my favorite character in that movie. I love it. And then over here is a reindeer I thought was really cute. And I don't collect the Wizard of Oz, but there's Miss Gulch. I always like Miss Gulch on her bicycle. So let's see, that's it of the ornaments that they have in here. So anyhow, are we getting excited? Are we getting excited? Christmas, Christmas. Christmas stuff will be coming out around here at certain places. Well, Hallmark, they'll be coming out in July. It's usually around September, I think, we can start getting Christmas stuff here. So anyway, and I don't know if I'm buying much Christmas stuff this year, you guys, because I just have so much stuff. So I don't know. I said that last year, and I did buy a few new things because I had to get like new Christmas trees. I think that was my biggest thing. I had to get 2 new Christmas trees. But I don't know. I do need to get new garland. The garland that I use on my staircase, I use that, we've been here for, it's been like 9 Christmases. I've used it. And then I used it when I lived in Chicago for probably, I don't know, 5 Christmases before we moved. It's time for new garland. So I'm thinking about getting new garland. So if I do anything new for Christmas, that's probably going to be my new thing is, you know, that. And I did buy new bows and stuff last year. I might keep the same bows. I don't know. It's just going to depend if I see new ribbon that I like or whatever. So anyway, but that is my announcements. And now let's get on to making the sauce and the meatballs. To start, here's my meatballs. I have about 2 pounds of meat in here. I've put in 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, and this is about half of a sleeve of crushed crackers. And you can use breadcrumbs if you like, but I always just put crackers when I'm making meatloaf or meatballs. But you can do what you like. Then we're going to need, here I have about 1.5 teaspoons of basil. I have half of a cup of Parmesan cheese, 2 teaspoons of beef bouillon, and then just some ground pepper for as much as you like. And then you're going to need about a cup of water. And I'm just going to put all of this in here. And you need the water because the water will help keep everything moist. I'm going to mix all of this, begin rolling my meatballs, and then I'm going to begin frying them. Okay, now these are my ingredients for my sauce. You're going to need 1 can, 12 ounces of tomato paste, and you can either put 3 cans of water. Sometimes it would be like 3.5 cans I would use of water in your sauce after you dump this out. Or what I do is, the next thing that we need here is a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, and I fill this up with water, and then I fill it up again about halfway. The next thing that we need is sugar, because I'm making a sweet sauce today. Now there's all different kinds of sauce, and you could put wine in your sauce. You can really do whatever you want to. This is how I traditionally make it, the sauce that my family likes the best. So I'm using 1/3 cup of sugar, and I'm going to get back to the sugar in a minute. This is 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder, or you could use a small to medium sized onion. My kids don't like onion, so I just use onion powder. Then I have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Again, they don't like the garlic chunk pieces, but if you wanted to put garlic in, put like 2 cloves of chopped fresh garlic. This is 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. I have just a little handful of rosemary, and I just crushed it with my other hand. This is 1.5 teaspoons of basil and 1.5 teaspoons of oregano. Now, when you're making sauce, one thing that you have to remember, and I was taught by an Italian lady how to make sauce. One thing that people tend to forget, tomatoes is not a vegetable. Though we classify it as a vegetable, it is really a fruit. And so you do need to add a little bit of sugar. If you're just going to make like a regular sauce, or if you want a bit of a spicier sauce, you would still need to put in a little bit of sugar. And I was always taught you put in at least 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of sugar, and that's just if you're going to make what you're not going to consider to have, be a sweet sauce. But if you want your sauce a little bit on the sweeter side, which is called a sweet sauce, then about 1/3 cup of sugar does it. And the other thing that I put in is some Tabasco sauce. Okay, so I have my tomato paste, my crushed tomatoes in here, and my 1.5 cans from the crushed tomatoes of water in here. And so when you're mixing it, you want it to be loose like this. If it's too thick, just add a little bit of water till you get it this consistency. You don't want it any more diluted than this. You don't want it like soup. This is almost like a thick soup right here. And the reason why is because when you're cooking your sauce, I always tilt my lid like this to let a little bit of the steam evaporate out. And so in doing that, you're going to lose some of that liquid. So you don't want it too liquidy, and you don't want it too thick. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in a couple splashes just like that of Tabasco sauce. I do that instead of using pepper because this is a little bit more potent than black pepper. Okay, I'm going to dump all of my dry ingredients in, and I'm going to dump my sugar in. And sugar, like with anything that you cook and you use sugar, it turns like into a liquid, so that's going to help with this as well. So what I do is I just go ahead and stir, and I'm going to let it come up to a boil, and then I'm going to add my meatballs over there, and then put my lid on, and then I'm going to turn it down to a simmer, and I'm going to simmer this for a good 2 hours. Sometimes I do a little bit longer. Now, one thing that I wanted to mention is I've had people in the past ask me if I put oil in my sauce, and the answer is no. I cook my meatballs, and as you can see, my meatballs, they're browned on all the sides. Some of them, they're, real browned over here. And this is okay to get them like this because even though, and it's a soft crust, but even though if, it's kind of crusty, by simmering them in the sauce for 2 hours, this is going to get real tender. So, but some of my meatballs, if I were to open these, they're probably a little bit medium rare. They're not all the way cooked. They're just browned, okay? And so most of the fat obviously has cooked out of them, and I've drained all the fat. But when you put these in here, obviously you're going to get just a little, not a lot. I mean, if you cook them where they're almost all the way cooked, you're not going to get a lot of oil. But sometimes, not oil, but the grease from the meat. But it's not a lot. So what I'm going to do is put all my meatballs in. because it's starting to come up to a boil. And I always make a lot of meatballs because my family loves meatballs, and we like having meatball sandwiches with whatever's left over, like the following day. So that's why I use 2 pounds of meat. But you know, a lot of people, when they're making just their normal dinner, they'll use a pound of meat. And so the ingredients that I gave you that I put in my meatballs, if you're only using a pound of meat, obviously you're just going to cut that back half. And I'm talking about, you know, like the Parmesan cheese and the crackers, the bouillon and all of that. And why do I put water in my meat? I do that even when I'm making meatloaf, anything like that when I have ground beef. And the reason why is because it keeps the meat very tender. Have you ever bitten into a meatball? And sometimes it's kind of hard. It's almost like they're golf balls. But I like to, when I bite into a meatball, I like it to be nice and tender. So by adding the water, you're doing that. And especially because, and this is why I don't have a lot of fat that comes from my meatballs, even though they're not cooked completely all the way through, is because I use very lean meat. Now obviously if you used meat that, you know, was even the 80-20, you're probably going to have to cook those a little bit, you know, all the way through, because you will probably get a lot of grease from them. But yeah, I use like the very lean stuff, like the 90-10, I think is what it is. So yeah, there's not a lot of like fat to the meat, and because of that, the meat is so lean, you've got to get some moisture into your meatballs. So anyhow, if you're going to use like the 80-20 meat, maybe just instead of it being a half of a cup of water per pound of meat, just, you know, scale it back just a little bit, you know, maybe a third of a cup of water or something like that, or a fourth of a cup. Just, you know, use your own judgment. So anyhow, that's it. So they're all in there, they're all down there. I pushed them to make room so that the sauce is completely covering my meatballs so that they'll cook really well. And I'm going to put my lid like this, and I'm going to turn this down. I usually put it about right there, and I'll just simmer that just like that for 2 hours. Okay, I have about another 45 minutes until my sauce is done and we get ready to eat. So I'm just going to show you this. So you can see maybe just a little bit here of you know, the fat that came out from the meat. And if people had put oil in their sauce, they would have had that little bit plus a little bit more. So that's why I don't put oil in my sauce. Okay, so there we go. So I'm just going to give this another little quick stir. And this is done. And really, the only thing that might need to be drained is, see, like you can come around the sides. Over here might be a little bit more. Over here might be a little bit more. Whoops. And then I just drain it in there. But there's really not too much in the way of any sort of grease that you need to drain. So here, I took one of my meatballs out. And so you can even see with the fork how just easily that was to cut it. It wasn't tough. Like I said, sometimes meatballs, they can be really tough. So I'm going to cut this and let it cool down before I take a bite. Okay, you guys, that's how I make my sauce. That's how I make my meatballs, and I thought I'd share it with you. If you like to try it, fine. And if you have your own way of making meatballs and sauce that you like, that's fine too. I'm just sharing because I was asked to share. And until next video, I'll see you guys next time.